load shedding and the impact that load shedding and the current situations are actually having on the property market. So the question we're asking is, what do you look for when buying a new house, specifically in this climate? Now, more and more people are seeking out energy efficiency as well as alternate power sources. This, of course, due to the continued rolling blackouts that we're experiencing throughout the country. Buyers also prefer buying in gated estates for better security when alarm systems go off due to the outages that we experience. But let's talk to an expert in this field. He is Renier Kriek from Sentinel Homes. Mr. Kriek, good to have you with us this morning. Talk to us about the dynamics and how this load shedding has actually impacted buyers' attitudes, how it has impacted the property market.
Yeah, so I think that there are a couple of ways in which it's impacted the property market. The fact is that, you know, there are all sorts of ways that we can't really quantify, like people might want to commute less because of the fact that, you know, often traffic lights are out and traffic is increased in the morning as a result of load shedding. And so that might increase the prices and also the demand for property closer to the central nodes. It might also intensify other trends, and that does happen with load shedding. It intensifies, for instance, the trend to create residential accommodation in place of office space, the sort of commercial to residential conversion, which is a trend of the property market at the moment, also with high vacancy rates with commercial property. And then also, of course, you know, people are starting to do things like prefer properties that already have alternatives to power installed, such as, say, inverters with batteries, or also solar PV systems or other alternative ways of generating power. And that obviously firstly has an inflationary impact on property, because people are unlikely to sell for a price that doesn't recover the cost of actually installing that infrastructure. And then it also drives up prices in the higher sort of income in the higher income groups, because it's more likely that higher income groups will have access to these capital outlays that are quite expensive. And obviously it means that in the longer term it's going to make affordable housing less attractive, because the poorer people on the income spectrum are unfortunately going to bear the brunt of the high electricity prices, because of the way that you know, Eskom has become inefficient and expensive. And so there are multifarious ways in which load shedding is impacting the property market, and I think that it's important to note that it's, you know, intensifying trends, and some of these trends are having a significant impact on the way that South Africans choose a house.
You know, Renier, Gareth and I were talking about this just a short while ago, that if you invest in solar energy for your house and your house is completely converted and you're using solar panels, when you are wanting to sell that house, does it then increase the value of your house? Can you actually add that onto, I guess, what you ordinarily would have sold the house for before you installed the solar panels?
Yeah, so there's no guarantee in the end, Tammy. But if I've taken, say, 200,000 Rand and installed a state-of-the-art solar PV system in my house, I'm unlikely to sell the house for a price that doesn't recover that cost. And so that's why I say that the existence of load shedding, coupled with the trend to install these capital assets, is likely going to be inflationary in the market, because it's going to increase the price expectation of sellers. Whether they achieve that price in all cases is a matter for the market to determine. We know that purchasers are already under pressure because of recent high interest rates and the steep gradient of interest rate increases, and also because of high inflation for various imported factors that are impacting on that. So it is likely to have an inflationary impact, but whether you recover the entire capital amount is uncertain. What we do know is that properties that have the potential to install these kinds of things, like, so say a solar PV system or an inverter with batteries, is going to definitely have an impact on price, right? As buyers are going to prefer those properties. So if you don't have a northerly or a westerly roof that you can install a solar system on, your property is likely going to be less attractive than a property that does have that kind of situation. But that's obviously not the only thing that people are thinking about, right? That's only one of various factors.
Renier, before I let you go, we've been speaking about people who live in single, stand homes. What about those who are in sectional title properties? Are we finding that body corporates are now also wanting to install solar energy? Obviously, this would not only serve, one of the units, but all the units within a particular development.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that among body corporates, and obviously that's also having an impact on levies, which are already, in my experience, quite high in suburban areas. We must realize that several, trends are being intensified by load shedding. You mentioned earlier the trend of people moving to residential estates because their alarm might not work when they do experience load shedding. That is definitely also a trend that is intensifying. That trend existed before load shedding, but by load shedding, it is being intensified as people take cognizance of their security. Now, the same thing happens now with levies. Levies are becoming more expensive because body corporates are taking steps to, changing to heat exchangers when it comes to geysers and installing solar PV or solar geysers. And while it's not up to the individual owner then has to do it as part of the collective, discussing it at meetings or getting the trustees to act. These are definitely features of the market. And definitely it also, once again, a body corporate that does have this installation, if it's done well and it doesn't increase the levy too significantly, is likely going to see an increase in the value of the properties that form part of that body corporate.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Some food for thought there, certainly going to impact the pocket, whichever way you look at it. That was Renier Kriek. Thank you for your time.